campaign trail because I care too. The beautiful thing about being First Lady is that I have the privilege of traveling all across this country, meeting folks from different backgrounds and hearing what's going on in their lives. Every day I hear about folks' struggles, the businesses they're trying to keep afloat, the doctor bills they cannot pay, the mortgage they can no longer afford. And I hear about how they're trying to do everything they can to keep it together, working that extra shift, taking the extra job, how they're scrimping and saving and sacrificing. Many never spending a dime on themselves because they desperately want something better for their kids. And make no mistake about it, these struggles are not new. I mean, for decades now, middle-class folks have been squeezed from all sides. And the cost of things like gas, groceries, tuition have been constantly rising. But people's paychecks just haven't kept up. So when this economic crisis hits, for too many families, the bottom just fell out. Just fell right out. So the question today is, what are we as a country going to do about all this? Where do we go from here? And I know that amidst all the chatter and the debates, because there's a lot of that going on, it can be hard to see clearly what's really at stake. Because these issues are complicated. And truly, folks are busy. We're raising our families, working full-time jobs, many of us helping out in our communities at the same time, and many of us just don't have the time to follow the news and sort through all that back and forth and figure out how all of these issues connect to our daily lives. But the fact is that in just over a year now, we're going to make a decision between two very different visions for this country. Very different. And I'm here tonight because when it comes to just about every one of those issues, from the health of our community, our economic security, to the quality of our schools, the stakes for our families and for our country have never been higher. Never. I mean, let's start with the Jobs Act that my husband sent to Congress. And understand, when we talk about how this bill would give tax cuts to 6 million small business owners, we're talking about regular folks who run restaurants and stores and startups that create 2/3 of all new jobs each year in this economy. 2/3. Understand that we're talking about people who work themselves to the bone every day to keep these businesses open, and then they head home and pour over the books late into the night determined to make those numbers add up. And we're talking about a tax cut that could mean the difference between these people hiring new employees or handing out pink slips, between keeping their doors open or closing up shop for good. That is what's at stake in this election. When we talk about how this bill would extend unemployment insurance for 6 million Americans, I mean, we're talking about folks who are just weeks away from losing their only source of income. This is what we're talking about. So this is literally about whether or not millions of families with children will have food on their tables and a roof over their heads. It's about whether folks will have more money in their pockets, and more money in their pockets means more money in our economy, which means more jobs. But more importantly, this is about whether or not we as a country will honor that fundamental promise that we made generations ago, that when times are hard, we do not abandon our fellow citizens. We do not let everything fall apart for the struggling families. That's not what we do. Instead, we say, there but for the grace of God goes my family. Instead, but we remember that we're all in this together, and we extend a helping hand. in this election. And think for a moment about what your president has done on education. I just think about the investments that have been made to raise standards and reform public schools. And this is about improving the circumstances for millions of our children in this country. Children we all know, kids sitting in crumbling classrooms. Kids like Sydney all over this country with so much promise. Kids who could be anything they wanted if we gave them a chance. And think about the investments, triple investments for job training at community colleges just this year. Yes, your president has done that. That's about millions of hardworking folks who are determined to get the skills they need for the better job and for the better wages, folks willing to do whatever it takes to improve their own lives. And these are folks who are working full-time, raising their kids, but they still make it to that class every evening. They study late into the night because they desperately want something better for their families. So make no mistake about it. This investment in our students, in our workers, will determine nothing less than the future of this economy. It will determine whether we're prepared to make the discoveries and the building industries that will let us compete with any country, anywhere in the world. That's what's at stake. Let's not forget what it meant when my husband appointed those two brilliant Supreme Court justices. On whether we can speak freely, worship openly, and yet love whoever we choose. That is what's at stake here. Think about how we're finally bringing the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Think about how we're bringing the last of our troops home from Iraq by the end of this year. As well as they've served us. And let us not forget how because we finally ended Don't Ask, Don't Tell, our troops will never again have to lie about who they are. Education or policy, the choice we make in this election will determine nothing less than who we are as a country. But more importantly, it will determine who we want to be. Who are we? Will we be a country that tells our neighbors who've done everything right, but are still struggling? Tough luck, you're on your own? Is that who we are? choice we face. It's clear. Those are the stakes. And believe me, Barack Obama knows this. He understands these issues because he's lived them. Yeah. He was raised by a single mother who struggled to put herself through school and pay the bills. And then when she needed help, he stepped in his grandmother, waking up every morning before dawn to take a bus to a job at a bank. His grandmother worked hard. She was good at what she did. But for nearly 2 decades, she was passed over for promotion. Why? Because she was a woman. And she watched men no more qualified than she was. Men she had actually trained, climb the corporate ladder ahead of her. So believe me, Barack Obama knows what it means when a family struggles. He knows what it means when someone doesn't have a chance to fulfill their potential. And today, as a father, he certainly knows what it means to want your children to grow up with no limits to their dreams. See, those are the experiences that made him the man, and yes, the president he is today. We are blessed to have him. From a long day, traveling around the country, working in the